Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Tasmanian Health Secretary Catherine Morgan-Wicks has delivered an emotional apology to victim survivors of child abuse at the Commission of Inquiry. More witnesses have told distressing stories about James Griffin and how the notorious pedophile was able to continue abusing patients under the nose of hospital staff.
Meeting James Griffin was a moment Angelique Knight will never forget.
I remember him coming in and he was very touchy-feely the first time he even come into my bedroom, the room, and I screamed out and screamed that I wanted that man away from me.
Years later, the child abuse survivor is still left in the dark, wondering how the notorious pedophile's behaviour went unnoticed as hospital staff looked the other way.
I think it would go a long way in knowing that someone is taking some responsibility of what happened.
Today, victims received an apology from those in power.
I wish I had asked more. I wish I'd dived deeper. I wish I'd known X detail and acted earlier. And I'll take these learnings with me for the rest of my life.
Experts in child safety left bewildered at how internal reporting systems didn't identify Griffin's pattern of behaviour.
Even though it might have been over a long period of time, it was still a trend. And what I don't understand is why it wasn't either picked up in that system or its predecessor or just in the basic HR system.
Survivors were thanked for their bravery as another day of hearings came to a close.
To these witnesses, we express our thanks for their courage, integrity and tenacity.
The Commission of Inquiry will focus on the justice system when it resumes tomorrow. Ainsley Kosh, 7 Tasmania News.
Local SES flood analyst is being deployed to New South Wales to assist with the floods ravaging Sydney. This will be Audrey Lau's third flood-related trip to New South Wales in just 1 year. She'll spend 5 days in Rhodes.
In my past 2 deployment experience, I was helping to analyse the situation and also keeping an eye in the incoming weather with working together with Bureau.
So Audrey is our only person with this capability within SES Tasmania. So like we said before, she is in high demand.
It comes after the National Resource Sharing Centre put in a formal request for backup. Tasmania is experiencing another day of flight disruptions, this time in Hobart, where stranded passengers have vented their frustrations. Virgin cancelled trips to and from Sydney and Brisbane this morning, while a flight to Melbourne and a Jetstar flight from Sydney were delayed.
There's no one to help here. We literally sat over here overnight, whole night, and they gave us the morning flight of 6:45, and that also cancelled.
Some travellers left with no other option but to wait it out.
We tried to have a look at an earlier flight. It's $2,000 if we wanted to get home today, so we can't afford that.
We haven't had a message from them yet, so no. So we rebooked in another place in Hobart for another 2 nights.
It's believed wild weather interstate and national staff shortages are to blame. 2 new and highly infectious Omicron strains have health experts considering a 4th COVID vaccine for adults. Record hospitalisations in Tasmania come as students are set to unmask, with the latest iteration of the Safe Schools plan released.
Like a movie villain that won't die, COVID just keeps coming back. 2 worrisome new strains have health experts concerned about what could be headed our way.
This wave of BA4 and BA5 subvariants of Omicron looks like it'll be a wave predicted to be similar to the size of the BA1 wave in January.
It has health leaders interstate calling for a 4th shot to be made available for the wider adult population.
I definitely think it's time we made it more widely available. Certainly many countries are vaccinating 50 and over with the 4th dose.
The evidence is clear that we need 3 or in some cases 4 doses to provide the best protection.
The health department here says it's prepared to stand up clinics if the move is approved. 73% of Tasmanians have already had 1 booster and 70,000 vulnerable people have had 2. 2 more Tasmanians have died from the virus, with nearly 1,600 new cases. There were record hospitalisations at 76, with 19 being treated specifically for the virus. The state government wants help from the public in warding off dual outbreaks.
Please feel free to use a mask, to also ensure that you sanitise your hands regularly, and please stay home if you've got flu or other COVID symptoms.
Its Safe Schools plan for Term 3 no longer requires masks, and excursions will recommence. But the AEU says the plan conflicts with rising case numbers and lacks any consultation, also calling for a comprehensive ventilation audit.
Where is the resource for catch-up learning? We're seeing other states employ pre-service teachers and retired teachers, and there is a massive effort to keep students engaged with their learning and on track.
Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
The state government has put its Food Resilience to Food Security Action Plan out for public consultation. It aims to take some of the pressure off hunger relief charities like Food Bank that are feeling the effects of Tasmania's increased cost of living.
They're the ones providing hunger relief to vulnerable Tasmanians trapped in the cycle of disadvantage.
On average, there's 22,600 people who are accessing food per month in Tasmania, just through Food Bank.
Now the state government is stepping in to help, sending its Food Resilience to Food Security Action Plan out for public consultation.
What that aims to achieve is to reduce the reliance on these providers and encourage people to have more resilience, connecting them with their local producers, with community gardens.
There are some terrific and positive initiatives in it, particularly the school lunch pilot program.
It's part of the government's $3 million commitment to food distributors and essential services that commenced in 2021.
After the last 2 years of COVID, what we've seen is the cooperation that exists between these community services, and we want to see that go further.
But there's no denying emergency food relief is becoming harder to supply as cost of living pressures intensify and the price tags on everyday groceries soar higher.
Nationally, there are issues with the supply chains. Got to feel sorry for our poor folk in New South Wales who are going through our 3rd and 4th flood event.
Mr Higgins says without government help and the generosity of volunteers, sponsors and donors, Food Bank Tasmania would be forced to close its doors. Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
Athletes will have a new place to race with the first ever Ironman 70.3 Tasmania event coming to town next year. Event organisers have finally launched the course following months of planning, and it features some iconic Hobart sites.
Racing into the heart of Hobart next year, the inaugural Ironman 70.3 event is putting Tassie on the map.
It'll be the first time that an event of this nature has been brought down to Hobart specifically, but also Tasmania. There's obviously a bit of a triathlon community down here, but nothing to this scale as yet. So we're super excited. 1,100
competitors from near and far will descend on the island state.
We've sold nearly 1,000 entries and we've only just launched the course today. The highest state that's entered is Tasmania at 27% of entries.
Competitors will begin by diving off Australia's largest floating pontoon at Brook Street Pier before swimming 1.9 kilometres through the cool and calm waters of the River Derwent. The next phase will see racers tackle a 90-kilometre cycle, facing the most gruelling bike course elevation on the Ironman Oceania circuit. But as they push through the pain, they'll also take in some scenic sights.
They're on the East Derwent Highway, which, looking across the River Derwent, offers some spectacular views of Canarney and Mount Wellington. So really stunning, challenging, technical bike course, and that's the real point of difference of this race.
Athletes will return to a flat and fast 2-lap run along the water's edge at Battery Point before finishing the race on the famous red carpet at the Prince's Wharf forecourt.
It's a positive step for Tasmania, but one, because it's a real destination race.
It's going to be a huge boost to the economics at a time that we certainly need it.
The race to remember will take to the streets of Hobart on February 5. McKenna Bailey, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's Wooden Boat Festival is known for being one of the state's premier events, but next year's edition will have a number of performers walking on water. It's partnered with shipbuilder Incat to create a floating stage, bringing entertainment to those enjoying the event away from land.
For these Incat workers, their minds are all at sea. Hard at work inside the company sheds, they will eventually bring one of our great parties to open water. Their customer, the Tasmanian Wooden Boat Festival.
So it's basically a stage that's going to roam around all the boats and pull up to the docks and have performances throughout the festival.
Measuring around 7 by 3 metres, a new pontoon will also be built. Equipped to host a 3-piece band, it will allow this show to go on. The festival attracts thousands, but with many staying off land, organisers want them to enjoy the fun.
It'll have a outboard motor, so it'll be able to roam right up to boats, right up next to people, and give them private performances or up to more crowded areas and give them a big show.
It's going to be a great experience for visitors to see this stage coming around the waterfront, different events happening on it, popping up here and there.
The build mixing new ideas with familiar concepts to prevent that sinking feeling.
They'll be joined in the middle like a catamaran like that we normally build, and that'll create the stability for us.
The project also helping train the next generation of employees, with apprentices playing a major role in getting them from the factory floor onto the water.
These guys and girls only started with us in March. Everything for those guys is brand new. So we're trying to give them the best experiences that we possibly can.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
The extreme lengths Hadspen boxer Tyler Blizzard went through to make weight in his latest bout have been revealed. The 24-year-old had to drop nearly 5 kilos in the hours before the weigh-in, but still managed to keep his unblemished record intact. Tyler Blizzard's fists were flying in the super bantamweight bout, but what punters didn't see was the beating Blizzard's own body took before the fight.
Right at the end there, he had to lose 4.7 kilos on the last day, which he did.
But it was torture.
They put themselves through hell just to make it into the ring, and unfortunately that's all that people see.
Luckily, it paid off. Blizzard came out firing in all 4 rounds in Sydney.
Lovely right hand. Blizzard now going to work.
The Tasmanian making it 2 from 2 in his professional career, going out with a huge haymaker. It didn't connect, but Blizzard had the points in the can.
Tyler Blizzard!
He is better than that as well, so with a good prep and all that, you'll see a lot better Tyler Blizzard, and Tasmania, the country and the world, will see that hopefully by the end of the year.
Blizzard is now with trainer Jeff Fennick in Thailand, preparing for his next bouts, likely to involve the New South Wales state title and plenty more punishment leading in. In local hockey, Derwent's men's side says there's still plenty of improvement left before finals. They defeated second-place Canterbury 3-0 on the weekend to go a game clear on top. Defender Harrison Winch says while he's confident of the team's fitness, they need to avoid becoming complacent.
We always remember those results, and we did get complacent against Northwest a few weeks ago and ended up in a 0-0 draw, so we'll remember those results so it doesn't happen again.
Meanwhile, the women's side secured a 4-1 win over Canterbury to keep their slim top 2 chances alive.
We need to win each week because there's not long to at the end of the season and finals, so it's really about each game.
The double win ensuring Derwent retain the Wells Guest Cup. The NRL could be heading to the state for the first time in 5 years. The state government is in very early talks with the Melbourne Storm about bringing a game here. Whether it's for premiership points or in pre-season still needs to be fleshed out. The Storm last visited in 2017 when nearly 7,000 fans watched a pre-season game against the Brisbane Broncos.
Good evening. Hobart 16, the warmest around the state today. It was like spring, 4.2 degrees above average. Launceston and Devonport had 15, Burnie a top of 14. Launceston the coldest in the state last night with a -3. King Island, Smithton, Friendly Beaches, Grove and Bushy Park 15. Flinders Island, Low Head, St Helens all 14, Strawn 13 degrees. The Bureau reported low-level cumulus cloud bubbling over much of Tasmania. Heavier cloud sits off the south and west. The rain-bearing cloud is still there over Queensland and New South Wales, a little more over eastern Victoria. A frontal cloud band is moving over southern WA. Tomorrow, a high to our southeast extends a ridge over the country. A cold front moves our way from the west, the trough remaining over the east. Winds turning northeast-northwesterly during the day tomorrow, reaching 30 knots in the afternoon, swells to 3 metres. We have a strong wind warning, that's from southeast Cape to Stanley, and a road weather alert warning of icy roads making driving conditions dangerous. Forecast for Hobart, a top of 13 tomorrow, partly cloudy. Geefston 13, -3 for Bothwell, a top of 11. Launceston a high of 13, 13 also for Devonport with showers developing, 11 the top for Cressy. Burnie expecting a high of 13 with showers. Showers on the way too for Strawn, 14 the maximum. Curry on King Island, 13 degrees. St Helens showers on the way, 14, 14 for Swansea, partly cloudy for Orford, 13 the top. On Thursday, a showery day with winds shifting southwesterly. More showers on Friday, mainly over the east and southeast, and on Saturday, showers easing as partly cloudy conditions move over the north and west. Partly cloudy in Perth tomorrow, just 14 for Adelaide. Sunny in Melbourne, showers and 18 in Sydney, even cool in Darwin, only 27 there tomorrow. Not here. Here are our mostly cloudy conditions around the state at the moment. What about that hot dog eating story, Kim? 63 hot dogs in 10 minutes. Feel like I want to have a couple of dogs myself for tea. That's why I'm being frank.
Oh, terrible. Thanks, Murph. And that is all your news for now. We'll be back later with updates. Thanks for your company. Good night.